Hi and welcome. My name is Helga Marin. I'm an inspirational speaker and health and wellness coach. And today, in this short video, I want to talk about how to get people to say yes to you. Yes, that can be very useful when you are starting your project and you need people to either help you or to invest in your project. So let's get going and let's find out, how do you get people to say yes to you? The first thing to know about people is that their behavior is controlled 90% by their emotions. Well, that's something to keep in mind. Have you ever bought something that you didn't really need? Or have you gone out with friends when you know that you were supposed to be studying for a test? Well, I know that I have, and I'm sure that you have experienced this. And this is because we do what we want. We do what feels good to us. We don't necessarily do the most logical or rational thing and things that are in our best interests. And this is because we are mostly controlled by our emotions, not our brain. Now, look at this. It's our emotions that control our behavior. Emotions are powerful motivator. If you learn to tap into both your own emotions and into other people's emotional states, you can do almost anything and you can get almost anyone to do anything you want. This is very powerful. So let's continue, and I hope you are getting excited to understand how to influence people to get on your team, on your side. So I've listed 10 things to get someone to say yes to you. And I'm going to go through all the 10 steps. And I promise you, if you follow the steps, you can't go wrong. You are going to feel the effect of those 10 steps. Okay, so let's start. The first step is to get yourself into a peak state of performance. That means that you get yourself into feeling confident about yourself and you feel joyous. So you want to feel good before you go into meeting someone that you want to influence. Now, there are reasons for that, and I'd like to tell you why this is important. So the first reason is that your emotional state, basically how you feel, is going to affect the person that you have the meeting with. Have you ever felt like super tired or even exhausted after spending some time with really negative people who moan and complain all the time? I'm sure that you have. We call those people energy vampires, and everybody has energy vampires in their life. I'm sure you've also experienced the opposite, like feeling really upbeat and happy after spending some time with really cool friends. The reason is that we have in our brain so-called mirror neurons that basically allow us to feel what other people are feeling that we are in close contact with. So this is important to know, because nobody wants to do business with someone who is insecure and unhappy. Remember that the person is going to feel what you're feeling. So you are much more likely to get people to do business with you if you feel like super confident, happy, if you are in peak state of mind. There are other reasons why you want to feel good before going into meeting someone that you want to influence, someone that you would like to get on your team. And one of those reasons is that when you feel good about yourself, you are more optimistic and you persevere. You don't give up so easily. Another thing is that your intelligence opens up, because when you feel good about yourself and when you feel optimistic and when you're happy, you're actually manufacturing chemicals in your brain that boost your intelligence. This is really, really important to know. So you become better equipped to solve problems, to come up with solutions. If the other person sees a problem with your project, you are going to be more intelligent to find a way to get the other person on your team. Also, lastly, that if you feel good about yourself and if you're confident about your project, the other person is automatically going to feel your confidence and they're going to feel more confident in you. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, okay, I've told you that it's important to get into a peak state, but I haven't really told you how to do that. So let's dive into that. So the first thing you do to get yourself into a positive state or to get yourself feeling good is to change your thoughts. Your thoughts create emotion, and that's very important to know. Now, I'm gonna do one exercise for you so that you can experience this in your own body. Close your eyes for a moment and bring your thoughts to a memory where you felt really confident, proud, and happy. It can be a memory from when you achieved something, you received an award, or you just did something really cool that you're really proud of. Now, I'd like you to linger in the memory for a minute or two and just really bring that memory to life in your mind. And the more vivid, the stronger the feelings are going to be. Now, while you're in that memory, find one empowering sentence that describes how you're feeling about yourself. Like, I'm feeling strong and confident and I can do anything I want. Now, just find any sentence that resonates with you. And if you like, you can just pause the video while you're finding that sentence. Now I'll come back if you pause the video. And now I'd like you to repeat this empowering mantra and repeat it again and again until you start feeling it. Now stay in the memory and just remember how you felt when you did whatever you did in the memory. Now, if I'm not wrong, you're starting to feel a shift in your feelings, right? Your body doesn't know what's happening for real and what's happening in imagination. It basically means that when you're imagining things, your brain is producing chemicals to match that experience. So when you feel proud and happy, you're producing chemicals like endorphin, dopamine, all those positive chemicals that makes you feel good, makes you feel strong and confident in yourself. And so I'm actually showing you that just by remembering, you can induce the same chemical production as if it was happening for real. This is quite remarkable. Now, if you go into a meeting in this state of mind, obviously you're gonna radiate confidence and happiness and joy. If you go into a meeting with thoughts of, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, what if it's not gonna like me, I'm worthless, I'm a loser, all those thoughts that we occasionally have, then, the results will be according to that. The second way that you can use to change your brain's chemistry to get into a peak state of performance is actually managing your body, how you sit and how you use your body. So when you open up your chest, when you straighten up your back, you feel better, you feel more confident. If you just think about, for a moment, think about the person who's really depressed. What does that person look like? Now, if I'm not wrong, you will get a picture in your head of someone with a hunched back, looking down, like your shoulders are down, and, breathing shallow, it's a sour face. That's how this depressed person is going to look like, right? And that's because the mind affects the body and also the body affects the mind. So if that person is thinking negative thoughts, it affects her posture. And her posture will reinforce and produce more negative thoughts. This is quite remarkable. Now, so let's go back to how to get into a peak state of performance. We need to bring our shoulders back, keep the back straight. And if you like, just before the meeting, to get into a so-called power pose, you can do that. Raise up your hands and just say to yourself, I'm a winner. I can do it. I'm great. I have great potential. I know that I'm going to get this person on my team, and so on. Now, you're using both your thoughts and your body language to create this positive, empowering feeling. So let's just summarize the first step, what we've talked about so far. You want to get yourself into a peak state of performance before you go into a meeting where you want to influence someone or get someone to help you. And this is because your state of mind is going to affect the state of the other person. Remember, the mirror neurons is that whatever you're feeling, the other person is going to feel as well. You're also going to feel more confident in yourself, and which is going to make you more resilient, and it's going to open up your intelligence. The second key is to help the person you want to influence to feel good about themselves and to feel good in general. And there are many ways to do that. And basically all the following steps are gonna do this in one way or another. So let's get to the third step that is directly linked to the second step. And the third step is people by people. Now that sounds a little bit funny, but what it means is that people like to do business with or to be associated with people that they like. So the third step is about getting the person that you want to influence to like you. And there are a few ways to do that. And there are a couple of ways that are my favorites, and I will go through those ways. The first way is to compliment the person. So when you compliment someone, you are already starting to create a connection. I mean, we like to be recognized for our strengths, our beauty, or our achievements or something like that. And so I don't recommend you complimenting a person for their beauty, not in your first meeting. I recommend that you maybe compliment them for their achievement or their role in the company or something that you admire. It's important that the compliment comes from your heart. It's not something you're just saying to get the person to like you. Let me give you an example of myself, something that just happened a minute ago. I just received a message from a client in Iceland. She rented my cottage that I have in Iceland, and she was just expressing her gratitude and how happy she was with everything. She loved the cottage. She told me that she admired the decoration and she loved the service. She loved the bread that I made for her and so on. And immediately I get this message and I want to do everything I can for this lady. So I wrote her back and I said, well, if there's anything you need, if you need any information, if you need any help, I'm here to help you. So just a small thing like that can make a big difference. And you know from other people complimenting you how you feel. So that's a great way to create the first connection with someone. The second thing that I suggest is finding something in common with that person. Now, this is very interesting because we tend to like people who have things in common with us. It could be as simple as coming from the same neighborhood. It could be both liking the same hobbies or having the same interests. It could be a common goal that you have, like, for example, reducing plastic on the planet or whatever. So you need to find out a little bit more about the person before you meet them so that you know what you have in common and you can kind of target that right in the beginning of the meeting. So we are at step number 4 now. But before we go into step number 4, I'd like you to recall the first 3 steps. So you memorize it. So step number 1 was what? Get into a power state. Step number 2 is get the person that you're meeting to feel good. Remember that. Step number 3 was get the person to like you, people by people. And now to the 4th step. So the 4th step is reciprocity. It basically means that people feel closer to you, they feel more connected to you if you have given them something. When you do something for someone else, if you do them a favor, or you give them a small gift, or you just give them a small compliment, it will make the other person feel more appreciated, and also they want to do something instead for you. So this is the law of just human connection, that we like to do things for people who do things for us. And it doesn't have to be anything big. Remember the story I told you about the woman who sent me a message about my cottage? She was complimenting my cottage, and I felt really grateful to get that message from her. So I wanted to give her something back. So I sent her a message and said, I'm here to help you in any way I can. So that's just a great example of how I felt more compelled to do something for her after I received her compliment. So that's the fourth step. Now let's go to the fifth step. The fifth step to get someone to say yes to you is to show authority. We feel more attracted to, and we are more likely to do business with people who are confident in themselves and they seem to know what they're talking about. You can gain people's confidence by sharing your background, your achievements, or sometimes it's enough that you show them with your voice and your body language that you're sure of yourself and that you believe in your project. We are all attracted to confidence, but just remember there is a fine line between confidence and arrogance, and you don't want to come across as arrogant to the person. Step number 6 is passion. Yes, we like people who are passionate about what they're doing or what they're selling. We get attracted to it. Do you remember the mirror neurons that I spoke about earlier? Is that when somebody is passionate and is describing something with passion in their voice, we can feel that passion as well. So we are attracted to, and we love to listen to people talk about something they're passionate about. I always remember a friend of mine who joined me on a very difficult hike up Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro is the highest mountain in Africa. Now, when we are on the hike, she just suddenly said to me, Helga, I don't know what I'm doing here. I said, what do you mean? She said, I hate hiking and I hate camping. And I was like, why did you join me? Like, why did you come on this trip if you hate hiking and camping? Because that's what we're doing. She said, well, it just sounded so exciting when you were describing it, so I just had to join. So that's a very good example of how you can influence other people with your passion to get them passionate with you when you describe something with passion. The 7th key is personal gain. That means that if the person who you're trying to get to invest in your project or help you out has some kind of a personal gain, they're more willing to do that. Now, it doesn't have to be a financial gain. It could be that the person looks good in the society or in the community. It could be that the project that you're offering them to take part in is important to them. And so they feel that they're doing something good in the world by supporting you. So here it would be really good to know what's important to the person so that you can tap into that in the meeting. The 8th key or the 8th step is people like to do what other people do. It basically means that if everyone has a new iPhone in your school, you want one too. Or if all the kids in the school are going to a particular hangout, you want to go too. So we kind of trust what other people do. And if there's lots of people doing something, we feel that that must be good for us or right in some way. So we tend to follow the crowd. You could use this principle by showing the person that you want to influence who else is supporting you. And in that way, they gain more confidence in you. Because if they see that lots of other people and maybe some important people are supporting you, they want to do it too. The 9th key is scarcity. Because telling people that something is in demand and it won't be available creates a fear of missing out. We all know that we are more likely to buy things that are in demand and difficult to get, right? You could present your project in a way that this is a rare opportunity and you don't want to miss out being a part of it. It's not going to be available after a while, and that creates like a pressure to be a part of the project. The 10th and the last key or the last step is consistency. People like the behavior to be consistent. If someone commits to something small, it's easier to get that someone to commit to a larger thing later on. For example, if I'll call someone and I do a survey on how important it is to reduce plastic use, and I get the person through a questionnaire or through the survey to basically say that this is a big concern of hers and she would support it in any way that she can. Now, later on, I will knock on the person's door and basically say, well, I'm the person who did the survey, and I have this wonderful tool to help you to reduce plastic use. Now, because they've already committed to it through the survey, they already said that they would support anything that could help them reduce plastic use. Now they're more likely to buy your product, because now you've got them hooked on being consistent to whatever they've said to you before. So these were the 10 steps to get someone to say yes to you. And before I give you a nice example of how you can use it in practice and with your project, I'd like to go through all 10 steps so you remember them. So the first step was get into a powerful state of mind. Get yourself feeling confident and strong in yourself. Get yourself to feel good about yourself. The second step was to get the other person that you're meeting to feel good, to feel confident and feel good about herself. The third step was then to get the person to like you, because people buy people. The fourth step is reciprocity. We like to do things for people who have done something for us. The fifth step is authority. We like doing business with people that we believe that know what they're talking about, that show confidence in themselves. The sixth step is passion. We get excited when people are passionate about something they're either selling or doing. The seventh step is then personal gain. We like to get something out of it. Like if there is not a financial gain, but if there's something we get out of it, we are more motivated to take part. The eighth step is that we like to do what other people do, so we follow the crowd. The ninth step is scarcity. People don't want to miss out on things. And the 10th and the last step is consistency. People like their behavior to be consistent. So that is the 10th step. And let me now give you a nice example of how you can put this into practice. So here is an example of how I would use those 10 steps. So let's say that I'm working on a project of reducing plastic use in my community, and I want someone to invest in my project or to help me out in some way. So here are the steps on how I would do it. So the first thing I would do is decide on a few people or a few companies that I want to approach. And I would select them based on two things, their financial means to help me or their ability to help me. And secondly, I would find people who are supportive of my cause. They may have publicly announced that they are supporting reduction of plastic use, or they may be manufacturing some things to save the planet from plastic. So here I am actually starting with step number 10, the consistency, that people like to be consistent. So instead of calling them and ask them to commit to my cause over a survey or something else, I've already found people who are publicly committed to my cause, reducing plastic use in my community. The second thing I would do is basically contact the companies or the people that I think can be helpful to me, send them an email or give them a call and set up some meetings. The third step is then, before a meeting, is to put myself into a power state. So I feel secure and sure of myself, I feel confident in myself, I feel confident in my project, and I feel also optimistic. The fourth step is then to find something I can give to the person. It could be something simple, like I could bring a cup of coffee, or I can bring some nice treats, or even just give a small, nice compliment. That could be enough to induce the reciprocity. The next thing I would do is basically get the person to like me, or find ways that we can create a nice connection between the two of us. Because remember that people buy people. And I could start with some nice compliments, or I could find some things that we have in common, just to basically start a dialogue between the two of us that will create a connection between the two of us. Now that I've established some connection between the two of us, I can start to share my passion for the project that I'm working on. And I will do that with authority, basically show them that I know what I'm talking about. I could do so by sharing some scientific facts on how plastic is contributing to animal species dying out. You could find some new interesting facts, maybe facts that you think that the other person doesn't know about, because that shows you that you've done your research and you know what you're talking about. After sharing my passion and knowledge, I could basically show them how my project is going to solve the problem, or at least it's going to help solving the problem. And if it makes sense to the listener, he has moved closer to wanting to help me on this project. Now that you've shared your passion and your knowledge, it's time to show the investor how they're going to gain from investing in the project with you, or show them how their help is going to make a difference. Now, the personal gain doesn't have to be financial gain. It could be a gain of respect, or just feeling that I'm doing something good for the planet. The next thing I'm going to do is show this investor how other people are supporting me, or how other people are supporting similar projects. Remember, people like to do what other people do. So if I've gained another investor, or if I have some other people interested in supporting me, I want to share that information. And if not, I could maybe find how other investors are supporting similar projects with good results. The next thing I will do is basically creating this scarcity, giving the person a limited time to join, and maybe show that there are other people interested in my project and I can only choose one. Now, however you do it, just remember that you want to create this feeling of urgency. The last thing I would do is basically show the investor how his contribution is going to make a huge difference to my project. I'm basically going to show him that he doesn't really need to put in a lot of work. Just by supporting me financially or doing whatever I choose to have him do, it's going to be a minimum effort with maximum results. So he's really going to get a lot out of investing in my project. So these were the 10 steps in praxis, and hopefully this will help you with your upcoming projects. If you have any questions or you like to comment on the video, please do so, and I look forward to see you next time. Good luck.